Hey, here's an update for you. Since the corona happened, my Mike Brady hair happened. I haven't been to a barber shop in probably 8 or 9 weeks, and I'm just letting it grow out. No, that's not gray hair. That's just hair color that I use to make me look distinguished and more Mike Brady-like if he were alive today at 90. Anyway, things have happened since you decided you couldn't have the decency to even say hello to me or talk to me the last time I video chatted you. But, all that aside, things are happening around here. If you look at this tree over here and those poles, those trees over there, where were they? My finger's pointing, and all around the yard, in the back of the yard, if you look way back there, you see more orange. It's because those are being taken out. All those trees are coming out because we finally, after a decade, almost as long as you've been alive, Heather got a settlement from an insurance company for a truck crash that she was involved in that has screwed her body up for the rest of her life. And as a consequence of that, she earned some money. And she's been living in this crappy house way over here for way too long. We got that car probably a couple years ago. I'd like to update it. Of course, I got my beast of a truck right here. But we're going to put a new house right over here. And it's going to come out a little bit further than this one. And I'm going to install a barn, if you will, a workshop. That's going to go kind of like over here. If you see the little orange markers over here, that's the front of it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but those are the front of it. And they go back about another 30 feet towards this way. And this is all going to be, where we see here is driveway. This will be driveway. That tree right there is going to be removed right there, but the rest are going to stay here. But this is coming out because the driveway is going to come into this area right here. And so that's what's going on. It's been pretty crazy. I have a load of what's called hard pan, or commonly referred to as clay, which is the stuff I put in the driveway, which is going to go over here somewhere. And I'm trying to figure out exactly where, because along the way, we need a temporary storage location to put the things that matter to us personally from that house, where my finger can point, from that house into a storage building, while that whole thing there gets disassembled and demolished and put into big dumpsters over here and hauled off, so that a new house can come along in here and be inserted in its place. And it has a room for you. Seriously, part of this has been about you. You may not think so, you may not care, and a host of other things that you may or may not do. But that place is going away, a new place is coming in its place, and part of that is about you. And it's all good, actually. It's not bad, it's all good, it's not punishment. It's a celebration, really, because you're pretty cool, whether you think so or not. I think you are. Whether your friends think you are or not, whether you have any friends or not, I don't really care. But I think you're pretty fucking cool. You're pretty smart. And we would love to have you visit us and spend some time with us while this goes on. What's happening in 2 days, which is Saturday, is an RV is going to, I'm going to pick up an RV at a storage location and I'm going to drive it over here. I have no idea where I'm going to park it right now. I'm going to put an RV over here and it's going to be used for us to live in while all this process goes on and the thing gets knocked down and a new one goes in. And my man cave, which will be no longer this stuff over here, all this will go away and it'll be replaced with a proper garage, a metal garage actually. And it'll be 30 feet by 30 feet, which is pretty substantial. It'll have a, over on this side over here where the chicken coops are, will be a lean-to, so Heather can park her Prius or her newer Prius, whichever whatever she decides to do, right over there. And this area here that we're looking at will all be driveway, somewhat anyway, not a lot. And then, remember last time we were here there was a pool, got rid of the pool, and now there's a puddle. Go figure that. There's a pool, there's a puddle where the pool used to be. That's going to be all filled in. And so all this that you see looks kind of crazy is going to be all filled in and even and nice grass eventually. It's going to be all fill dirt or topsoil actually for right now. And then all the way going back to the creek, which I don't know if you've ever seen the creek over here, but the creek is down here in the woods. And I've been starting, like I said, I've been starting to mark off trees to cut down, and I've been cutting them down with a, believe it or not, a glorified weed whacker with a circular saw blade that is used to cut big wood. That's what I've used to cut all of this wood you see, and it's all knocked down over here, all the way down there. All this stuff I've knocked down with a weed whacker with a saw blade on it. So these trees here, for example, are going to come out. But back here is a creek. Can you see the creek? And the creek runs along the entire back end of our property. More trees I'm going to cut down right there. And all the way up here, all the way up to the front of the property is this creek. And what we want is we want to enjoy it a little bit. We may not ever go in it, obviously, because it's like creepy. But we want, because it's on our land, and our land goes over there. If you see, there's a pole. If I keep the phone still and I can point to it, there's a pole right kind of like over there. That's the property line. That is where Heather owns. She owns this creek, basically, all the way down her property, all the way down there. And so we're going to take advantage of all that. I know that you've got school coming up in the fall, whatever that means. Maybe it can be online, maybe it's sitting in a classroom. But perhaps still, even this summer, we can have you come down here. You might have to stay with us in an RV. I'm just saying, because Kevin's going to stay at his dad's house. Nick's going to stay at his friend Brandon, who lives down the street over here. He lives down there. And we could use some company. We could use some help. You know, you think you're skinny or you don't have muscles? Well, I promise you can get muscles here. Because not only would I take you out here to help me, I would make you work with me sometimes, maybe on a job. And have to pay you for labor. Oh, that's scary. Paid for labor? Shocking, isn't it? So since you've been gone, I've also cleared this entire space all the way up there and made this pile of stuff, which I don't know if you can see it. There it is. I'm kind of like looking out of the corner of my eye. There's the pile of debris. Yes. And there is that stupid shower enclosure that had been sitting on the ground over by the house for 2 years. I paid $20 for it. Heather says I paid $100. I know I paid $20. But, it's just one of those things. But, and here's the garden now. Check it out. Here's the garden. Corn. All kinds of squash. Nick came out here and picked all the ripest ones. And, the discovery was, he said he wanted plastic to cover the garden so that it wouldn't grow weeds. We decided it was cheaper to use landscape fabric. The only problem with landscape fabric is that it kind of like lets the sunlight through. So all the weeds grew anyway. So yeah, like we totally goobered that, as you can tell. But we have all kinds of veggies growing here. And this was an afterthought idea that Heather had. She had some extra corn seeds, so she planted them over there. But those are the ones that Nick planted, and they're actually looking quite healthy. And we should have corn probably coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks. And another cool thing we have is a black snake. He's a black racer. And he is really nice to have around because he keeps other snakes around that are predatory and nasty away. And he also eats rodents and other small things like that, and frogs. So it's actually kind of cool to have a black snake in the yard. Well, this right here is where I found him yesterday, actually, sunning himself right there. And I'm going to send you a picture of that. And it's pretty cool. He's a really cool guy. I really like him. I never thought I would like snakes, but he's actually pretty cool. And he hangs around the house. And here are the birds. Chickens. I fed them tonight, so they're happy. Haven't checked the eggs in about 3 days, so we had like a dozen or 14 eggs. So that's been crazy. And it just rained today a lot. So there's lots of water, like you saw where the pool used to be. The pool's dead, and eventually the new pool will be next to the new house on the other side where it's more sunny. All right, so that's a very long story. I don't know if this thing is going to make it into your text messaging or however you might receive it, but this is my update for you right now, and I wouldn't mind a phone call from you, text message from you, or anything like that from you. No, you're not forgotten. You're not neglected. I love you. I am 1,200 miles away, but I do miss you dearly, and I wish you were here. I love you. Sweet pea. Ciao. Bye-bye.